I wound up in the strip club business through a gentleman, Anthony Galeota. And Anthony was a client of the attorney that my mother worked for. And he saw my football picture, and he had played football. And he basically said, hey, why don't you have your son come down? I think, we might get along. My mother thought it was a great idea. How many mothers are like, absolutely, go send your son to the strip club with the mob guy. That's just a brilliant idea. So I went, and we immediately had a connection and a good friendship. We laughed at the same things. I have a New York state of mind. He's a New York, Long Island guy. And we were both 420 friendly, way before it was so cool to be 420 friendly. And when it was kind of like you were a renegade, and you had to hide under the bleachers with your joint, and so we just hit it off. Everything was funny. I had no money. The girls were very secondary to me. The girls were not as much of an interest. There's nothing wrong with seeing free titties, but they're not really interested in if you're not spending money. So I was just a kind of a fixture of just like, who's the guy that's friends with the owner, so to speak, but he wasn't the owner. So that's my introduction to that club, and that was Porky's in Hialeah. It's about 5 minutes from the airport, Miami International Airport. The sister club was a club by the name of Club Pink Pussycat, and both of them are still there, and we'll get to what happens there. So we're friends, and at some point he extends me an opportunity for a job there. And I was kind of like a do-boy. I went and worked on day shift. He worked at night, and there was no real job title. It was just do whatever they ask of you. And that was pretty simple. They didn't ask too much. Nothing was too hard. So what I started to realize was I was more of somebody to be eyes on the day shift, because there was a discount. The two managers, a gentleman by the name of Buddha, and he and Tony, I don't think, got along very well. There was a power struggle there. Now, when I got this job, the owner of the club was a car magnate, a Jewish fellow by the name of Bill Seidle. And if you're from the Miami area, you'd be familiar with Seidel's Gonna Save Ya. I could do jingles, I feel like. Seidel's Gonna Save Ya. Marisol loved that. She thinks I suck. So this guy had a lot of money, and he was the landlord of the club. And what it turned out to be was the original owner, Ludwig Fainberg, Tarzan. Google the name Ludwig Fainberg, and we'll get to him in a second, a little down the road. That was the original owner of Porky's, and Bill Seidle was the landlord at the time, and Tony worked for Tarzan before I was ever in the picture. I view this as a BC and an AD. And with Tarzan and without. And so Operation Odessa went over a lot of this. So there's a Showtime documentary, Operation Odessa, and it discusses a lot of this. Tarzan basically runs Porky's for a set amount of years. I think it was 4 or 5. And then he goes to prison. The FBI, they had it in on him with the submarine and the whole Operation Odessa bust. And Tarzan was then, he did his time, and then he was deported. And I think he went to Israel or Russia, between one and two. But he bounced around. And Tony kind of became the face of the club. The government took over the club for about 2 years. And the government ran it very well, according to Tony. And then they turned it over to Bill Seidle. Once they were done putting together their whole deal, the government was like, okay, we've done what we needed to do, and they turned it over to the landlord. There was really nobody else to turn it over to. So this old man, big car guy down there, he takes over the club silently. Shh, nobody knows. And he actually owns, and he's half owner of Pink Pussycat, so he had 2 clubs with a partner. So that's when I come in. He's already now the figurehead there, but he's completely off premises pretty much all the time. And Tony was that was his boy. That was his guy. So if you're in Tony's good graces, you're fine. And I was in Tony's good graces for sure. So fast forward, I worked temporarily there, and it never seemed like it was going to be a long-lasting thing. And then a few years go by, and I get a call, and I'm living in Brevard County at the time, and I get a call, and